Hey guys, welcome back to the show, to Funny Guy Timmy. We're doing some more. I'm Funny Guy Timmy, for those who don't know. Hi there. I am doing a review, obviously. And let me just say this out of the gate. This was a product that was sent to me by the company, but I was not paid to review it. And I was told to be honest. So, but I am going to try to focus on the positive, mostly just because there are tons of videos where I focus a lot on the negative when it comes to USB mics. Mostly just because I want people to know the truth about something. But there's so much negativity in the world right now. Let's try to find and focus on the positive. So the microphone that we have today, first thing that I actually do kind of like was the packaging. The box that it came in is actually really, really nice. It's just a standard, like cardboard box, but it's actually got a lot on it, a lot of information just on the box that you don't normally see with these things, and the picture is high quality. So, due to the fact that it's actually a relatively inexpensive microphone, and we will get to price in a second, the fact that it actually lists all the stats on it on the box was just a really good feature. Okay, and the microphone that obviously we are reviewing is the TC-777. So if I was them, I would have just give it like a code name or like another name and call it the jackpot because it's 777. But, I don't make mics, so what do I know? But it has a 2-year warranty. That's nice. Like I said, it comes with everything on the box right here. And let's just go down the features. Obviously, it's a cardioid pickup pattern. For those who don't know, it's a very small lobe right in the front. And so it's not directional. It's going to pick up a little bit more that's in the area. Yes, you guys are listening to it in a, treated space. So really all you're hearing is just the mic. You're not listening to fans or anything like that, but I would imagine that this microphone probably would pick up a lot of fan noise and a lot of neighbor noise, outside noise, that kind of stuff. So just be wary of that, and that's just common with cardioids in general. Now the thing that I'm not really happy with is kind of its specs as far as its range and all that kind of stuff, just because it's really in the lowest area of what I would consider. Actually, I would consider those just below what I would consider like a decent quality mic, and that's just because of just the specs in general. It is 44.1 kilohertz and 16-bit. Personally, I think that you really need to get a 48 kilohertz and 24-bit minimum. That really, the reason that I say that is just it gives you more to work with. If you were to try to edit or EQ or do anything like that, you have a lot more to play with, as opposed to this, which is really just kind of just barely within that area. So that's kind of the one of the negatives. Its frequency response is 100 hertz to 16 kilohertz. So again, kind of cutting off a lot of the both ends of this, which is why it kind of sounds a little bit hollow, or I guess slightly metallic. It's a very hard sound to describe, but really because it's cutting off a lot of the top and end, and it's such a small frequency kilohertz range. You're kind of losing a lot of that really low end, and you're kind of losing some of the high end. But that can be good in some microphones. Cutting off a lot of the high end or a low end means that you're not going to get probably as much rumble, like if traffic noise, or that really, really sharp sibilance sound. So maybe that's positive. Maybe that's good. Again, I can't hear it. I can't hear this, how it sounds. I did listen to it earlier. Before I did this, because it didn't have live monitoring, and me, live monitoring is a must. But what I'll be doing later is I will try to record something with this and then see what I can do to EQ it. So if anyone does have this kind of microphone or was still thinking of buying it, maybe possibly showing you guys how you might be able to sweeten the sound of it a little bit. No promises, but that's what we're going to try to do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything else on here, you can just go and look up on the website. Link to it will be in the description, or Amazon link. I'm not sure what I have. And then this little booklet just basically has the exact same information. So, slightly redundant, but it's fine. Box is pretty basic. I'll do unboxings. Okay, so let's talk about some more stuff that I really, really like. I actually do like that it comes with both of these. Normally, you're given an option of one or the other, either foam wind cover or the pop filter. And now, me personally, on my Sennheiser MKH416, I prefer a wind cover. Normally, because I'm not speaking directly into it, and I don't want anything else in my way, anything obscuring the screen. It's been distracting in the past, so I just use a foam wind cover, and sometimes that's really all you need. But they do give you actually a really nice pop filter. It's actually my favorite part of the package. It actually is my favorite thing, which actually, due to the fact that these smaller pop filters are actually very hard to come by, they're very hard to find, because I actually have a lot of, this would have been really good, well, not perfect, but really good for this guy, the Samson Go mic that I cut off and put in my own little shock filter. Shock filter? Shock mount. Yeah, I have a video on this. If you want to go watch it, go watch that. But yeah, finding a nice small pop filter is something that's very hard to find. But they actually it comes with it, and it's attached to the shock mount, which the microphone doesn't quite fit the shock mount perfectly. But there is a remedy to that. These extra little notches on the side of the shock mount actually gives you the ability to put elastic bands through there and hold the microphone more at the center, because it just barely fits at the bottom. I'm going to lift this up a little bit. It just barely fits at the bottom. It's just barely enough clearance that the elastics and bands, oh God, I hope I didn't pull that. So you can adjust that and you can fix it, however you like. Basically, this shock mount and pop filter isn't really intended for this microphone, but it does fit. So, that's why it's in the package. It basically was in the warehouse and it fit the microphone just barely, so that's why it was included. Not that that's a bad thing. That's totally fine. There's lots of companies that do stuff like that they don't really make a shock mount and pop filter for every single microphone, like not a unique set for every single microphone. So that's totally fine, but it does have adjustment potential, so that's good. The next thing that I noticed, and I don't know if this is probably a positive. This is probably a positive. The tripod that it comes with, pretty basic, pretty standard, nothing special, except for the fact that it's heavier than the microphone. It's actually quite heavier than the microphone. So a lot of these normally are plastic or aluminum. This is actual steel. So at least I think. So it's much heavier than the microphone. So having the microphone on this, it's not going to fall over. I highly doubt you'd have to do a lot to really knock this over if it was on your desk, which is actually how this microphone is intended to be used. This microphone is not a voiceover mic. Not every microphone is made for voiceover. And much like the Samson Go mic, it's not intended for voiceover, but there are things that you can use it for. For example, this would probably be more of a gaming microphone. And the reason I say that is because it does cut off the low end and it does cut off a lot of the high end. So if you were doing things like, not necessarily streaming, but just communicating with friends, the fact that it cuts off a lot of the low end is actually probably beneficial. So if you were tapping on the desk and this is on the desk, it's not going to pick up as much of that probably. Don't quote me on that, but it's probably not going to pick up as much of that, as well as outside noise. And when you're, streaming with friends and you're communicating, whether through Skype or through the game, the audio quality in those games isn't perfect anyway. So this microphone, it would be overkill to get like this for gaming. So if your only intent is to game and communicate with friends or communicate with, team members, this would be totally fine. This would actually be pretty good. The only thing is you wouldn't be able to hear yourself. Now, you could do like what I'm doing and just have this as the input and my mixer or whatever audio interface you're using as the output. So I can record with this and then just hear the game, through my headset. That would mean that I'm not hearing myself through this, but, if you're just playing games and you're streaming or whatever, there's no need to really do any live monitoring anyway. The only, issue would be like if they can't hear you, you'd need what's the problem? That kind of thing. But they would just be telling you. He's like, no one's responding. Gee, I wonder why. Well, it's because your microphone's not working. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the pros. Let me get to some more of the cons on this microphone. The cable is really short. It's kind of pulled a little taut to be from here down to my little USB hub that I plug everything into over here. So it's definitely intended not for a space like this. It's not intended for voiceover. Not intended for that. It's intended for being at a laptop or being close to a computer. That's how it's used. Now, in that scenario, the cable is totally fine. It's long enough as needed. But I would personally, I still like to have a little bit more length on my cables, just so if I have to plug it into the back of the computer and then snake it around stuff and then, go over things instead of it just being like right in the way the whole time. That's just me. That's how I like it. But I don't know exactly how. I would say maybe a 5-foot cable, 5 maybe longer on the cable. Probably 5.5 feet is probably what you're looking at. So, take that as it is. Now let's look up the price. So as far as the price goes on this microphone, right now you can find it for $43, which isn't bad, I would say. However, you can find this one, the Samson Go mic, which is more compact, more portable. Yes, has a lot more issues as far as like being way more sensitive, and if you bump anything, this thing will hear it. And obviously, it's hard to find a shock mount. But I think that one is less, and also has a wider frequency range. Also has live monitoring, so it's kind of hard to say as far as which mic I would say go with. Now, you guys know that I'm not a huge fan of the Samson Go mic. But again, I review microphones as a voice actor. I don't really review things as a gamer or as a tech person, whatever those people are. Nerd. Geek. Yes, and I don't mean that derogatory. Being a geek is totally fine. There's lots of stuff that they know that I don't know. But I would say that if this microphone probably was a little bit lower on its price, maybe below $40, it would probably be worth it for the things that I list. It being good for. But at its current price, the issue that I'm having is the pop filter and the shock mount and the foam wind cover and the stand plus the microphone worth $40. I would say it's probably close. I love the pop filter. That's probably my favorite feature of the whole thing. In fact, like if the microphone went out, I would be like, well, it wasn't a waste. I mean, I still got the nice shock mount and the pop filter. So maybe if they brought the price down a little bit, probably be more what I would expect this kind of microphone to be at. But that's just my opinion. I would love to know what you guys think. Now, let's see if we can edit the audio and make it better. Alrighty, so now we are in Audacity, and we are going to see what we can do about this audio. Okay. Alright, so one thing that I would say is another thing that is positive that I was just noticing earlier, and I forgot to mention, is that when I was doing my review of this guy, the CAD U37, This one had an issue with audio levels. This one had an issue with, being too loud, and it was very hard to turn the volume down. This one actually has a lot more headroom and a lot more floor, so it's way easier to manage on that level. So another positive, finding the positives. Okay. Actually, let's go ahead and delete that. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Dude. All right, and that's my standard test for a microphone. It has sharp T's, sharp consonants, and testing the pop filter. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is normalize to 0. Reason we do this is so we can get a clear image of the noise floor. Then we go over here. We go to noise, get noise, double click. And that, again, is my noise settings. It varies sometimes, but that's pretty much what this space normally gives me. If I have like the AC on, and the AC unit is just on the other side of this wall, you can hardly hear it, but there's still slight rumble sometimes. It depends on how hot it is and that kind of stuff. So those settings right there is more than enough to take care of it. And I can see that there is a little bit of stuff right there. Oh, that cleaned up nice. Okay, get rid of the ends. Boop, because we want to hear just what this sounds like as is. Doot. Okay. I'm going to cut this off a little bit. Okay. Now, going to copy and paste. Technically, you don't have to, but the reason I do is because the compressor kind of is aggressive. So it does this ramping over here that you'll see in a second. I'm going to set it to 13. So the fewer kilohertz, basically, the higher the dB on the threshold normally is. That's what I've noticed. So normally at 96 kilohertz, what I normally record and then edit down and then export as 48 is 11. I normally use 11. But when it's 48, it normally needs a compression of 12 to be a little bit more cleaner and smoother. And then at 44.1 is 13. I don't know why. If someone knows, please leave that down below. But that's what we're doing here. Boop. There we go. And then we're going to go in here. Okay, so you see this? See this ramping? And that's not there? Yep, little fade. Oh, what's wrong? What's going on? Okay, that was weird. All right, so now we have the equalization. So what we're gonna do here. So normally this is what I use. Those are my settings for 96 kilohertz. Just kind of boosts my voice nicely. So we're gonna go down into here to 44.1. Oh. Well then. I wonder if this is even going to work. I accidentally recorded at 96 kilohertz at 32-bit because that's normally what I record in. That's my default, and I forgot to change that. We're going to see what this sounds like. We're just going to do this as is. Just going to do this as is. I mean, technically, this microphone doesn't output at that, so recording like this is normally a waste. But let's just see what that does. See if that even does anything. Okay. Now we're going to listen to this. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Okay. Copy. And we're going to undo all this. All right. So what we got here is the original and then the slightly edited version. So maybe we'll hear the difference. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? No plosives. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Yeah, I think you can clean it up. I think it is possible to clean it up. Again, it's not a voiceover microphone. I need to say that. This is not a voiceover microphone. However, if you were doing YouTube videos or vlogs or something like that, and you wanted this mic, it's cheaper, it's portable, all this kind of stuff, and it comes with a nice pop filter. That's what I would do to clean it up and to fix it. That's what I would do. It does sound a little bit better. One thing that I was noticing is that it sounds a little too soft in the microphone, and what I mean by that is a lot of the clarity of your voice isn't really there. There's no punctuation on any of the clarity of your voice. It basically, everything seems a little too flat and a little too even, and the EQ and the compression just kind of brought the more spoken word more to the surface, which is really what you try to do. Again, that's it. That's my review. Those are my thoughts. Neither yay nor nay. I don't recommend nor do I discourage buying this microphone. Your money, your choice. I've listed the pros. Definitely love the pop filter, and actually I might be using that for other microphones after I'm done here. But that's it. Yeah, link to the microphone is in the description. If you guys liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new, bell for notifications, and leave it down in the comment section below. Like to see me do any of the videos, have any questions, or anything like that. That's it. And until next time, peace.